The Survivor Specialist Film Will are back with another episode of Everything You Need to Know About. And today we are talking about Dee, the winner of Survivor 45, one of at least two winners on this season. Still up in the air about if we have a 48 winner here or not. Or, I'm sorry, 49. We have the 48 winner. We don't know if we have the 49. But we have Dee, and we're going to be talking about her and everything that you need to know about her. A 5-3 win at the final Tribal Council, but you and I both went on record. We did our top 25 players of the new era. This was before 47 and 48, I think. And we said that she was the best player of the new era. And I still think we probably both feel that way. I don't think that's changed. So here we are. What do people need to know about Dee?
Yes, we had D number one, and I don't think that's changed. Was there anyone in 46 that would be better? I mean, I think we talked about Charlie in the last episode we did of this series, at least you and me. And I think if Charlie had pulled out the win, you could actually make an argument for Charlie. I don't think Kyle cracks it. I don't think Kyle did enough, and I think Kyle had some favorable circumstances, and not that D did. I know D often gets knocked, and especially when we ranked her number one, as like, oh, well, she played from the top. She had a 4-person majority alliance and they dominated the game. And I would just push back on that because one, it's like, that's good Survivor. Like when you go out to play Survivor, anyone who's going on to 50 or any newbie season, your plan is not, oh, let me get on the bottom and have to scrape my way by and make moves to get there in the end. Like, getting an alliance that you can trust and getting an alliance that doesn't flip against you and an alliance that can work with other alliances, especially in the new era with the 3 tribes, like having 4 people into a 13-person merge or 12-person merge is not some like, wow, you got really lucky, or wow, look at the hand you got dealt. Like, you still need to work to put all the pieces together. So I don't fault D for putting together a successful alliance. That's part of what makes D so good. And guess what? That was a 4-person alliance. Who won? Her.
Yeah.
So like, she was also the winner of the 4-person alliance and pulled all the right strings. So I will say I still have D at the top of my rankings. And I do think that is a big reason why D's prospects for season 50 are pretty damn low. I went and revisited our winner chances podcast that we did, Phil, and we had her as a long shot. We did not have her as a no shot. I think our delineation there was, if I recall correctly, it's like, at least we've seen what a winning game from D looks like, and we know that she can do it. And so if it's possible for her to do it, then we at least have to put her in the long shots, where the no shots where people, it's like, we've never even had any indication that they can put together a winning game. That being said, Phil, I think D has a very big uphill battle here.
She has a very big uphill battle. It comes down to how long do people want to use her as a shield? And if they are going to use her as a shield, do they stupidly let her sneak in? Because you forget, D is very good at challenges, right? D is a player who won 2 immunity challenges down the stretch. So she wins those. She also actually, and then wins the merge one. So she won 3 immunity challenges on her first season. And she was on a tribe that dominated early, which helps her. But you can't let her get to Final 5 the way you can let Cirie get to Final 5, right? Like, Cirie is probably not winning a Final 5 challenge unless it's a straight up puzzle. D can win a Final 5 challenge pretty much no matter what it is. I mean, she just went and did the challenge. So we know that that's, I don't know when that comes out, but she just went and did the challenge. So she's going to be in good physical shape. She always was in good physical shape. I think that people are going to want to keep her around at least a little bit, but D is in that specific, you need to not let her hit the danger zone, right? You get her to final 14, you get her to final 13, you get her final 12, you're okay. Get her final 11, 10, 9, 8, you better start thinking about getting rid of her. If you let her get the final 7, she can beat you. And if she gets to the end, that's why we ultimately said she was a long shot. If she gets to the end, she's probably going to win, just because if a winner gets to the end on this season, I think people will look at it very positively. And I think D is likable enough as a person. So we'll kind of get into some of the complaints that people have about her, but I think that's why we ultimately landed at long shot and not no shot, because I'd rather use her as a shield than Kyle as a shield on this season, because Kyle was pretty sneaky on his season. D had one sneaky moment, and that was really all she had. Everything else that D did on the season was very straightforward.
I think she had two sneaky moments, right?
What was the
Uh,
second?
was the Emily blindside when she told Julie to play her idol, and
That was
then when she voted out Drew, she didn't tell Austin.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, she didn't tell Austin. That's right. So back to back, actually. She
Yeah, I mean,
peaked at the
she
right
turned it
time.
on when she needed to. Um, and I think that's why I respect Dee's game so much. She played a straightforward game for the first half, found numbers, and continued surviving, which is the point of the show. And then when she needed to put together a resume to beat people within her alliance or people that were still left in the game, she did that. And she dictated the votes to make sure it goes her way and that she was in control and that she could sit at the end and be like, I outplayed both people sitting next to me. The whole goal of Survivor. So I still have D number one. I guess Phil going into 50, the question I think a lot of people are going to have is like, what does it look like for D if she's not in the majority? Like, what if things go wrong early? What if it's a 5-3 vote when her tribe goes to tribal council and she's in the minority there? Can she rebound? Can she play from the bottom? Can she adapt? We've talked about some other players and their adaptability. We didn't have to really see that from D, and that is a major characteristic of a survivor player. Obviously, she pulled the right strings to win the game, and we're not faulting her. But if things go wrong, how does D respond and can she recover?
I think that, excuse me, I think a good example of this is what happens at Final Five on this season when Julie goes home. A lot of people will make the argument that this is where D got really, really lucky because Katura could have easily just voted D out of the game and there was nothing D could do about it. But I disagree because I actually think that this speaks to how good Dee's social game is and how she was able to convince Katura, no, stick with me. Let's go one more vote together. And Katura, who had been the one that was pushing to get D out of the game, ultimately switches her vote to Julie. Now people say, oh, that's lucky. That's the way Survivor used to be played before idols and stuff. If you wanted to overcome the numbers being against you, you had to socialize until you could get the numbers on your side. That was a lot harder to do. That's why in the early seasons of Survivor, we don't see as many people who are on the bottom overcome when they're on the bottom, right? You get a lot more predictable boots in those earlier seasons. I think that showed Dee's prowess to scramble. She knew her back was against the wall. And I remember watching that episode. This was the season before you came back, and it was the last season I did with Alexa. And I'm texting Alexa going, I really thought Dee was going to win this season. I can't believe she's going to blow it right here. I never saw this coming. I have no idea who's going to win. I guess Austin now. And then it turns out that no, she still found her way out of that. It's a knock that a lot of people use against her, but to me, it's great gameplay. And I think that it speaks to if she's in the wrong side of the numbers, she can scramble when she has to. For those who are listening to our Every Season Matters, she's not going to be like Brenda and just be like, no, I'm too proud to scramble. Like she's going to scramble.
Yeah, I think the problem that the audience has with that particular boot and maybe why people say she got lucky, not that I agree with it, is that there was a plan to blindside her that she didn't know about and she didn't then scramble to upend that plan. It was Katura coming to her and
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, cutting out here. My video just went out."
I think you're
Um,
good.
and so that feels like, well, damn, that kind of just fell into Dee's lap. But again, it's the same thing with, oh, she was in an alliance the whole time. It's like, well, yeah, an alliance that she put together very early on and that she kept together and that she worked with and that pulled in other people post merge to keep that alliance going into what they were 4 of the final 6.
Mhm.
That, like we say, hey, that requires skill. Having a relationship like she had with Katura outside of her alliance, that is also a very tremendous like skill. That's a game move to have a relationship with somebody who's not in your core alliance that you're so close with and they trust you so much that they want to come to you and tell you that you're going home. That is a skill of being a good survivor player. And again, that's why we look at these things from D and say that's why we have her number one and we don't discredit her win for those reasons. So I don't know if that really hits my question, Phil. I know you said you brought this up in response of like, can she adapt? What if things go wrong? What if a vote doesn't go her way or she's on the bottom? To me, that was not D actively scrambling. I will agree with some of the vocal audience that say, well, it kind of fell on her. I will agree to the point where it's like Couture just came up and told her. She didn't really actively do anything there. What I would differ with the people who kind of say Dee got lucky is that it's the relationship she had with Couture that she built throughout the post merge that ended up paying off, and that's what her move was, and that's why she's a good player. I still don't know if that counts as scrambling.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And when I'm saying scrambling, like, yeah, Katura comes up to her, Katura tells her what needs to happen, and
And
then
they
D
dance. They go, "Oh my god, oh my god!" You
yeah,
know,
and
it's
then
like,
D tries
I
to
mean,
figure
but
out,
that's what it is. That's why
yeah.
it's so impressive because Couture is so deep in D's pocket. And we always say this, Phil, like it's tough to show the social bonds of every character, especially in the new era with all the twists and advantages and a focus on gameplay, a focus on votes, a focus on losing votes. That like it wasn't clear to the audience in the post merge of season 45 that Couture and D were this close, or that this relationship was going to have such a pivotal effect on the end game of this season. But that, like, the proof is in the pudding. Couture doesn't go up to D in that moment if the relationship isn't
Yeah.
strong. If D has not milked that relationship or put forth trust in Couture in some way. So, like, even though we didn't see the details of that, the results kind of speak for itself there.
Yeah, I think what's very strange to me, and why I always rank D number one, is because I think she plays the most dominant game of the new era, and everybody's like, yeah, well, they argue Rachel or Kyle or something, and I'm like, no, D played the most dominant game of the new era because she had a relationship with everybody, and she didn't have to overcome much. And I don't know what it is about the Survivor community that makes people want to rank other players higher nowadays because of what they had to overcome. Like, Kim Spradlin just played a dominant game from day one. Like, it just happened. And
Mhm.
I understand that it might not be the most exciting, but how are you
Yep.
not putting Kim Spradlin as a top 10 winner? And maybe D doesn't play to that level, but it's less people. There's more advantages. There's more chaos. There's lost votes. There's shot in the dark that Caleb now gets. There's a split tribal council right after the merge. She was in control of all of it. And if you argue that she voted incorrectly, she never votes incorrectly on this season. When Sean goes home, she votes for Sifu because she knew that Sean was voting for her, so she was protecting herself. When what is it? Bruce goes home, she votes for Jake because if Bruce plays his idol, she's going to make sure it's Jake. And then, like you said, she's the one who makes sure Drew goes home. She's the one who makes
She
sure
votes
that,
for Julie when she knows Julie's playing her idol.
and the only one that you could say was incorrect was when she votes for Katura at final 5. But at that point, she's putting all of her eggs in the Katura and Austin basket and ensuring that if Jake does play the idol, everybody else has a vote on their name, because she knew that people weren't ultimately going to vote Jake out of the game if it came down to Jake and D, right? So that's what she's trying to do. At least that's what I think. I forget exactly, but it's like D was in control of everything the whole time. Yeah, she only wins 5-3. Austin's a really good player too. People don't want to give him credit because he's got to be an air quotes simp, right? Everybody, oh, he's simp, he's an idiot. No, Austin was playing the game that he knew how to play, and it almost led him to the win. And I think because people don't think highly of Austin's game, because D only beat him 5-3, they don't think highly of her game. I don't care if you win 5-3, if you win 7-1. Like, D's game is better than Erica's. D's game is better than Gabler's. Like, they both won 7-1. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't hold the votes. And I also think Austin's like a very good Survivor player. Like he's
Yeah.
really good. So like him getting 3 votes isn't that crazy.
Yeah.
Heading into 50, let's talk about her tribe.
Okay.
I don't know if there could have been a good draw for D because she's a winner, but as far as this one goes, like I don't know. I don't like it for her. I don't know if she has enough. I don't know if she has enough places to hide. I think D landing on a tribe with like Suri would have been really nice, or like I don't know, Genevieve would have been really nice for her to have just like someone else who's like really a top tier threat, maybe even Christian. What do you think here?
I think that D's actually okay. And here's my reason why.
And she's got Camilla.
She's got Camilla. She's got Tiffany too. I think she's very social in her regular life. And I know
Mhm.
that the 45 cast is very close. Now, obviously, she's not with Emily, but I think that this being the most new era tribe you could have, right? the oldest school player on this tribe is Coach, which the other two tribes, one has Colby, one has Jenna. Those are people nobody's really been talking to. Dee's on a tribe where she's probably seen Jonathan at events. She's probably seen Camilla at events. She's probably seen Tiffany. She's probably seen Charlie. I think that helps. She's probably seen Chrissy. I'm pretty sure Chrissy being in New York, if there's a Survivor event, a finale or a premiere that's in New York, if Dee flew up to it for 45, I forget where those things were, she probably met Chrissy, right? I think for the 44 finale, Chrissy was there because that's where I met Chrissy for the first time. And Dee was also there before 45. So, like, Dee has met most of these people, I think. And I think that that's really going to work out in her favor when you start to look at it. And I know that it's like, okay, but what does that mean when they get on the island, right? Things can change. It can be that somebody's not who you thought they were. They're playing a different game, all of that. But I think her being on the predominantly new era tribe is as good of a draw as she could have asked for. If she's on the predominantly old school tribe, I think she's done. If she's starting with a Colby and a Jenna and even an Ozzy, I don't think that necessarily works out in Dee's favor. I think this works out in her favor the most.
Yes, maybe the most, but you still, even if this is a good draw, and I don't know if this particularly is, it's not a bad draw. I'll agree with you there. I don't think like this could have gone worse for her. But even if you give Dee like the best draw in the game, it's still gonna be really tough for her.
It's gonna be tough.
Like I still kind of think she's a pre-merge.
When you look at the orange tribe, right, just to bring this one up because she's not on it, like you have Sari, you have Ozzy, you have Devins, you have the unknown of Savannah, you have Joe, who's very physical, you have Christian and Emily. That's a good spot for Dee to be, right? Because there's so many threats on that tribe. This tribe, you do have four runners up, plus Camilla, who her whole cast said that she would have won if she made it to the end. Jonathan's a fourth place finisher. So everybody on this tribe, 7 of the people are fourth place or better. The only one who's worse is Tiffany. And yet it doesn't feel like she's on the tribe with the big threats in the way that other people are. And maybe that's because it is predominantly new era, but she doesn't feel like she's on the threat tribe. And I do wonder, like, Dee and Coach, are they hanging out? Like, I don't see that. I don't see Dee and Mike White, you know?
Yeah, I don't see Dee, and I could see Dee and Charlie. I could see Dee and Camilla. I could see Dee and Tiff. Those are probably like her top 3 ally targets here should be Charlie, Camilla, and Tiff, I would say. Chrissy, I could see Chrissy being like, I don't want Dee anywhere near me. Like, get Dee out early if they have to go to tribal council. Yeah. I don't. And Chrissy could put on a pretty good lying face where she's like, totally like convinces Dee that they're totally tight, and then Chrissy bamboozles her.
Now, how do you think that Charlie will feel and Tiffany? Dee was the on fire host during that season, during 46. So you know Tiffany and Charlie are listening to that. Do you think that like they'll want to work with her more or anything or less because of that? Like they are hearing her talk about their season and she's giving her insights into, well, I won and this is what I would have done in this situation. Like that's the only season Dee covered. So I just wonder, like, is that going through your head where you're like, oh, Dee thinks she knows her shit? Or do you feel a closer connection with her? Because maybe you're reaching out to her during your season saying, I really appreciated what you said, right? Like we have players who reach out to us. If they're reaching out to us, they're definitely reaching out to Dee, who's on fire.
Yeah, I think that probably leans more positive than negative. Like Dee could have not maybe ripped into these players, but said something negative or had a wrong read or whatever. You're podcasting, you say a lot of things that don't end up being correct, or you have the wrong opinion or the wrong read. Like we do that all the time. But I still think it's overall positive because you're like you said, they're probably listening to it. Like you want to hear what Jeff has to say about the season that you're on and what his opinions are of you. And Dee is the one like co-hosting with him. And so there's probably just that natural camaraderie there of like, okay, you were heavily involved. You were kind of a feature role from Survivor official for our season. And so, yeah, there might be something there to look at, Phil. I like that.
And you would have to think, right? Like Charlie's probably reaching out to her afterwards, being like, "Hey, I have to take over. What's it like with
Yeah,
Jeff?
give me
What's it
some
like with
pointers,
Matt?"
give me some tips. How's Jeff? Like,
Yeah,
how does this thing go down?
yeah,
I'm absolutely sure that happened. And like I said, I mean, like, I think Camilla or sorry, Charlie and Dee feel like they were kind of perfect for each other. Now, the more I
yeah,
look at this tribe, that they should very much link up, and it would be a mistake for them to be threatened by each other. And I do think that's something that Dee did very well. Because if you remember early on the Reba tribe pre-merge, it was Dee and Julie were a pair, and then Austin and Drew were a pair. And Austin and Drew had found an idol clue or a beware advantage or they something, and they were like looking for it, and they kind of got caught with it, and they had to come clean to Julie and Dee because they had,
mhm,
that was their alliance at that point. But Austin and Drew were not being forthright. But Dee said, "Look, we could have, held this against them. We could have looked at this as a sign of distrust, but we came together. We found the idol together. We all four know where it is. Like this, we're moving forward together. I want to keep these people with me." When she had every opportunity to be like, "You guys just lied to me. Let's vote you out." And so I think that mindset for the game, just to be willing to work with people that are also playing the game, to understand that everyone's trying to win, everyone wants to get to the end and win $1 million. And in order to do that, you do need to be dishonest. You do need to lie. You do need to blindside people, and playing with that understanding and being willing to work with people, even when they've lied to you. That's huge, huge ups for D. And I think Charlie honestly feels the same way. We talked about Charlie's adaptability and that he would work with everyone. He'd try to have a relationship with everyone. So I could see both of them working together really well.
yeah. And then when I look even further into this, like maybe you do go into look, Dee's always posting fitness videos and stuff like that, right? Maybe her and Jonathan do get along pretty well there. Maybe, I mean, Chrissy still is tied for the record for most individual immunity wins by a woman. Maybe Dee and her do link up. Maybe it's like, Dee, you be the physical player, I'll be the puzzle person. Let's win this thing, you know? Tiffany and Dee, I actually could see getting along really well too. So the more we talk about this tribe, I actually think there's a lot of outs for Dee. And then I brought this up with the Charlie podcast. Look, Ben Katzman's a Miami guy, right? Like Ben and Dee like hung out when his season was airing and all of that. He's close with Coach. Maybe Dee has met Coach. Maybe Dee knows Coach outside of the game. I'm just saying there's these Ben
Or
connections that
like
are weird.
that also adds to the D and Charlie of it all.
That does also very
Yeah.
much so.
Yeah. The
Dee and
more I look at
Charlie, I
this, it's
know have
like
hung
D
out.
and D and Charlie need to link up.
Yeah.
Also challenge wise here, like, I do think this tribe might be my favorite tribe for challenges, just because for survivor challenges, it's more important who your weakest link is than who your strongest link is. So I don't see anyone here that's inherently going to like really slow you down. I guess Mike White would be like the obvious one. But even in Mike White, I mean, he struggled in some challenges, but it was really that one where they're carrying that huge disc and filling it with water, going up like that. That was a really difficult challenge. And because they have Jonathan to do like, they have like if they have a hero phase or you have to lift something super heavy, like he can really help through the
Yeah.
obstacle course portion before they get to the puzzle. And then as far as puzzlers go, I think this is a pretty sound puzzling tribe with
Oh yeah.
Chrissy, Camilla, and then even Charlie, D, Tiff. Like I think you can rely on Coach and Jonathan to kind of get you there to the end. And then you do have great puzzlers. So I actually kind of like where this tribe is at physically.
Strongest women by far too out of any of the tribes. Chrissy's older now obviously than when she played, but she wins 4 immunities. Dee wins 3. Camilla's great at puzzles, and then Tiffany's really solid at challenges too. I know she's on the disaster tribe to start, but you take those 4, you compare them to Angelina, Aubrey, Genevieve, Steph, or Sari, Emily, Jenna, and Savannah. That's a
Yeah,
strong
like
group of
I
women.
don't see the player on this tribe who like can't get across the balance beam and is
Yeah.
costing them like 5 minutes at like
Yeah.
one thing, or like can't get the ball, and like everyone here is at least like baseline capable of
And
doing
this
like
really
decent.
benefits D in my opinion, because I think that the longer D can avoid tribal council, the better chance she has to make relationships. And as people start to like her, maybe they're willing to keep her around for that first tribal because somebody else is pissing them off, or somebody else is hunting for idols, or somebody else lost their vote, or something else, somebody else lied about something. I think Dee needs to avoid that first tribal. And if she avoids that first tribal, those 3 days may be all she needs.
That one day.
That one day, that's true too. Maybe all she needs to get her feet underneath her. And we saw her social game. You already brought it up. Like when she saw Drew and Austin and she kind of called them on their stuff, but didn't blow it up to everybody. She created an alliance out of that. That was the most dominant alliance in the game. She's great with the social thing, man. And she's great physically. And she's very solid strategically, as we see from the Emily move.
And all these rogue votes you mentioned, like she was thinking about shot in the dark. She was thinking about idle plays, like making sure there was one vote on someone just in case she caught a stray. Like she very much was like a number crunching strategist, in addition to, like we said, her social game, especially that Couture relationship, which again, I know we didn't see that much of, but clearly for Couture to come up to her at the end means that they had a very strong bond. So Dee, I mean, what else do we have to? I think the question, and this applies to Kyle too. I think this is the question we have to ask, and we'll ask it on the Kyle one. Or I'm not doing Kyle.
No, I already did the Kyle.
You already asked it, but like, what is going to be the sentiment from the cast around the winners? Like, are we leaning more towards keep them in as
more
shields,
people,
or get them out early?
Sorry if you were still talking. I think it might have cut. I can't tell when it's cutting or not these days. I think that more people will want to use Dee as a shield than Kyle. Like I kind of said that at the beginning, and I think that Dee, I feel like if you're Camilla, you're a threat, right? You want to start that game and say, maybe I'll work with Dee so that I don't get voted out early. If you're Charlie, you're a threat. Maybe you say, I want to work with Dee. So like, I think that they're going to want to work with her. And Coach, I don't think has a problem with winners. Like he played on heroes versus villains and was willing to let some winners slide by. Like he doesn't vote out Parv right away. He doesn't vote out Sandra. He's in an alliance with Sandra early. So I don't think Coach really cares. Jonathan, I don't think is going to be that way. I think Jonathan's just going to be like, give me the strongest tribe possible. And I think Tiffany is going to say, give me the least amount of chaos imaginable, because the chaos on my other starting tribe is why I didn't win the game.
Yeah, I like that. I think you're right. I lean that way too. That like if Dee is on my tribe and I'm on Survivor 50, I'm like, I want to work with Dee. I want to keep Dee around. She will always be more threatening than me, outside of if I'm like Kyle or potentially Savannah or Rizzo, which I guess now people are thinking that Savannah would be the winner if that was the third winner, because they would split the winners across.
Yeah.
I hope neither.
I hope that's not true, man. And
then it's like
49. I mean, even though CBS didn't actually officially announce that it was Savannah and Rizzo on the season, like that was going to get out. That would stink.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it always gets out. So,
but all right. Anything else about Dee? One last thing I wanted to bring up here. Dee got a vote at the Sean boot at in episode number 4 of that season. And then she didn't get another vote against her until the episode where Julie went home, until the finale. So Dee did a very good job of like managing her threat level, never being the top target. People are always going after other people. And it's not her.
She had a confessional about like when you make your move, you have to do it subtly and secretly, or else you become target number 1. So like she knows that. And then something else that she was kind of known for, I don't know if we've talked about it yet, is just like when anyone would mention her name, she would get them out. I think Caleb mentioned her name. They had that confrontation at Tribal Council. Caleb plays a shot in the dark at that Tribal Council, and then he's voted out next. Kendra, I think, mentions her name, and Kendra was not a big threat to anybody. She was not really playing a winning game, but Dee knew that Kendra was tossing her name out, and so then Kendra goes home. So like she was very good at like putting out fires that would arise.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for Dee. That's everything you need to know about Dee.
Well, what's her last name and how old is she?
Valladares.
The first 2 questions I got on this series from the Genevieve one I did.
That's all you answered. No, it's a 15-second podcast. She is 28 years old and her last name is Valladares.
There you go. That's everything you need to know.
Everything.
Now we've got it covered.
Now we're good. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.